Hi everyone. So once again, welcome to the session. In this particular video, I'm going to discuss the daily practice problem for percentage 2. If you haven't seen those problems, then please check the description and download the daily practice problem, that is DPP document, and first try it by your own and then come back and check all the video solutions that I have provided in this video. Do not forget to like and share this video. Before we go ahead, just want to quickly tell you to note down the score chart and you can use it when you go for plus or iconic, and also make sure that all of you have downloaded Unacademy Learning app so that you can attend my Genesis LRDI session over there on the app as well. In case you are new to my session, once again, this is a bit about myself. My name is Ronak Shah, and make sure that all of you have joined my Telegram group and stay connected with me. This is my schedule for your quick reference, and keep attending my sessions. So let's go ahead and let's discuss the problems. So here is the first question, which says that a merchant can buy goods at a rate of rupees 20 per good, and the particular good is part of an overall collection and the value is linked to the number of items that are already on the market. So the merchant sells the first good for rupees 2, second one for rupees 4, third for rupees 6, and so on and so forth. So if you look at this particular statement, that is not much of any use. We can just say that he has purchased certain quantity of this good. We can assume that quantity is 10. So total amount that he has spent is 20 into n in purchasing this goods. Now if he wants to make a profit of at least 40%, so that means the total return that he wants is this amount into 40% increase, so it will come out to be 28n, right? So our total sale value should come out to be 28n. Now how is he selling the goods? So first item he's selling at 2 rupees, second one at 4, third one at 6, and so on and so forth. Such way he has n items, and this total should be greater than or equal to 28n. Now this question becomes a progression problem over here, or you can say it's a simple even number series addition problem. So let's take out 2 as a common factor. So we will get 2 in the bracket 1 plus 2 plus 3 up to, now this will become n by 2 terms. Here it will be n by 2 terms. Okay, right, and we want it to be greater than 28n. So for what value of n will it occur? So that is what we need to find out. So if we further simplify this, this is nothing but n into n plus 1 by 2. Now here instead of n we have n by 2. So I'll say n by 2 in the bracket n by 2 plus 1 by 2, right? So 2 into this 1 should be greater than 28n. So I hope all of you are able to understand this, right? Okay, in fact guys, these are n terms, so we really don't need to write by 2 over here. So this is a slight correction that I'm making. The number of terms will remain n only, so this will be a simple formula. Let me just rewrite this part so you will understand this better, right? So I'm just rewriting this part. Yeah, let's eliminate this part. Correct. So just to quickly write down the solution once again. Yeah, so since there are n items, so there will be n terms only. So it will be 1 plus 2 plus 3 up to n terms, right? And this should be greater than 28n. So I can say this is nothing but sum of n terms, which is n into n plus 1 by 2, and this 2 will get cancelled off over here. So this should be greater than or equal to 28n. So for which value of n will it occur? So you can definitely try different values, and yeah, by a little trial and error you will get that n should be equal to or greater than or equal to 27, right? So for any other values, I mean, this will not be satisfied. The left part will be less than the right part. So you can easily make out that here if n is 27, then 27 into 28 will be equal to 27 into 28, right? So you can straight away go ahead with option 3 for this question. So this was definitely a tricky question. It was looking like a typical percentage, or you can say profit loss question, but it has a bit of number property, or you can say progression added to that particular question, and that's where it is becoming slightly complicated problem, right? So I hope all of you would have understood this. Now here, if you want, you can pause your video and you can quickly read the second question before you watch the video solution of that. Right, so let's look at this particular solution for the second question. A earns 25% more than B, C earns 25% more than A earns 20% more than D, and so on and so forth. So we are given certain relationship. Further, it says that A, B, C, D and E earn integer amounts less than rupees 100. So what is the total amount earned by all the 5 of them put together? So in such question, what you can do is you can start with one of the person, and you can assume certain value for that person. So A earns 25% more than B, so you can start with B and you can take that as X. So A will be 5 by 4x. You can of course start from someone else also. C earns 25% more than A, so 25% more, that means once again you need to multiply by 5 by 4. Now this is what you need to understand, that 25% increase or 25% more, it's like the multiplying factor will be 1.25, or you can say 5 by 4. So C's value will be 5 by 4 times A's value, which is already 5 by 4x. Further, A earns 20% more than D. Okay, so A earns 20% more than D. Now this is where it becomes tricky. So if A earns 20% more than D, so you can say D earns 16.66% less than A. If you can quickly figure out this thing, then the question will become very easy, because 20% more will get cancelled off by 16.66% less, and 16.66% less means 1/6 less. So you can say D earns 5/6 of A's value. So D's value will be 5 by 6 times A's value, which is 5 by 4x. And further, E earns 20% more than A. So E earns 20% more than A. So 20% more than A means 6 by 5 times A's value, which is 5 by 4 of x. So now if I just simplify all these values, so A will remain as it is 5 by 4x. Then B will be x. C will be 25 by 16x. D will be, if you check, it will be 25 by 24x, and E value will come out to be 6 by 4x, that is 3 by 2x. Now as we know that each one of them earns an integer value less than 100, okay, so what is the value of x that we should take? So of course x has to be divisible by 4, 16, 24 and all. So I can say x has to be a multiple of 48. So either x will be 48 or 96 or something like that, but if you take x as 96 or further on, then this value will become more than 100. So that's how we realize that x has to be exactly 48, and 5 by 4 times 48, so this value will come out to be 60, this will be 48, then further this will come out to be 75, this will be 50, and this one will be 72. So if you just add all this value, it will come out to be 305. So that is the total amount earned by all these 5 people put together. So I hope all of you have understood this. Maybe you can think of some different approach in such question, and then you can see how much time does it take, and you can improvise. Right, now let's look at one more question. This is again a slightly tricky question because again the percentage values are given in terms of variable. So trader A and trader B buy 2 goods for rupees 1000 and 2000 respectively. Trader A and trader B. So trader A bought goods at rupees 1000 and trader B bought the goods at rupees 2000. Okay, and further it says that trader A marks his goods up by X%. So he increased it by X%, while trader B marked it up by 2x% and then reduced by X%. Ultimately, both of them made the same profit, non-zero profit. That means they have earned something. Okay, so what is the value of x? Now guys, in such question, I'll always recommend you to go by answer option. Let's try with this first option, that is 25%. So if we take x as 25%, so the profit of trader A will come out to be 250 rupees. Now what will be profit of trader B? So first trader B is increasing by 50% and then he is reducing by 25%. So what will be the net change because of this? So if you just observe, it will not be that difficult for you to make out. The net change will come out to be 12.5% increase. 12.5% increase, and 12.5% of 2000, it will come out to be 250 rupees, and both of them are making the same profit, which is a non-zero quantity. So definitely option 1 is correct. So this is how you could have solved this question. Okay, so before we go ahead with the third question, before we go ahead with the fourth question, let's understand few more things. Okay, so friends, before we go ahead, just want to quickly tell you about the plus courses and iconic courses offered by Unacademy. So if you are preparing for CAT 2022 or 23 or IPMET, you can definitely join our plus batches, or for CAT students, that is iconic course also available. The features are mentioned over here. You get live classes, study material, test series, and many other things. And in iconic, you get one-on-one guidance. Right, you get mentoring by IIM alumni, and plus you also get my guidance. So go for plus or iconic using my code CHAR10. The new batches are coming up, so here are the list of new batches for your reference. Even my plus batch has just started, so you can definitely join me, and make sure that all of you are connected to me through my Telegram group. So let's come back to the problem, and here now this fourth problem is something that was misplaced, in the sense that it should have not been over here, because it's of LOD3 and requires a bit of maximization minimization concept. So we are not going to take up this question. You can quickly ignore this problem, and let's move to question number 5. Now in question number 5, it says that number of votes not cast for PNC party increased by 25% in the national general election. So we are talking about general election over those not cast in the previous assembly polls. So here we are talking about assembly polls. Okay, so it's about two elections and the performance of a party in those two elections. So the people who voted for them, people not voted for them, voted, not voted, right? And then further it says that, and the PNC party lost by a majority twice as large as by which it had won the assembly polls. So basically what they are saying is the number of votes that were not cast in assembly polls increased by 25%. So if this was X, this should be 1.25X and something like that. Okay, but in this question, instead of assuming variables, what we'll do is we'll go by answer option, and that will actually simplify our calculation, because we know that a total of 2,60,000 people voted in both the elections. So here 2,60,000 people voted. Even in general election, 2,60,000 people voted. In case if you feel that this is going a little fast, what you can do is you can pause the video over here, read the question once again, and then you can see what data I am putting on the screen. Okay, now let's go by answer option. Definitely in assembly polls, they are asking us how many people voted for PNC party in the previous assembly polls. We know that the PNC party won assembly election and lost the general election. That means in assembly election, number of votes received should be more than 1,30,000, or number of people voted for it should be more than 1,30,000. So there is no point in taking this option and this option. So now we are left with just two options. So if I take 1,50,000 over here, this value will come out to be 1,10,000. And if you look at 1,10,000, 25% of that will come out to be something like 27,500, and it will get into some awkward value. But instead, if I look at option 3, and if I assume that if I go ahead with option 3, that means if 1,40,000 people voted in favor of this PNC party during the assembly election, that means 1,20,000 people didn't vote for it, and this value increased by 25%, so it should become 1,50,000 over here. That means remaining 1,10,000 voted for this party. Now what is the losing margin over here? 40,000. What is the losing margin over here? 20,000. And as it is mentioned, the party lost by twice of the majority by which it won in the assembly election. So yes, it satisfies this condition also. That means this option is good to go. So answer for this question should be option 3. So I hope all of you have understood this. Okay, now let's take up next question. So here this is a simple percentage question. It's a previous year CAT question. A person who has a certain amount with him goes to market. He can buy 50 oranges or 40 mangoes. So he has amount which is sufficient to buy 50 oranges, or you can say 40 mangoes, right? He retained 10% of the amount for taxi fare and buys 20 mangoes of the balance. Okay, so he purchases oranges, and of the balance he purchases oranges, right? And number of oranges that he can purchase. Okay, so guys, here we need to find out the number of oranges that he can purchase. Now let's assume he has amount equivalent to 50 oranges. right? Whatever amount he has, and 10% of the amount he retained for the taxi fares. So that means 10% of 50 oranges, 5 oranges. So he retained amount equal to 5 oranges with him. So that means he has now 45 orange equivalent amount to spend for, right? And he bought 20 mangoes. Now we know 50 oranges are equivalent to 40 mangoes. So 20 mangoes should consume 25 orange amount. So out of this 25 orange amount is utilized by him to purchase 20 mangoes. Once again, please understand the statement thoroughly, that he bought 20 mangoes. So with the amount that he has, he can buy either 50 oranges or 40 mangoes. That means the amount that he has is equivalent to 50 oranges cost or 40 mangoes cost. So 20 mangoes cost will be equal to 25 orange cost. So he spent 25 orange cost. So now he has amount left which is equal to 25 orange cost. So he can definitely buy 20 oranges now. So that is what they are asking. So number of oranges he can purchase is, so it is equal to 20, as we can see over here. So I hope all of you have understood this. Now let's go to the next part. Now here it says that in a city 35% of the population is composed of migrants, and 20% of whom are from rural area. So let's assume there are total 100x people. Now why am I taking 100x instead of 100? Because somewhere I see if the total population is this one, what is the female population? So there is some constant value that is given in the question. So that's why we'll have to assume things in the form of x. So out of this 100x people, 35% are migrants. So migrants are 35x. That means remaining are local residents, you can say. So local residents are 65x, and 20% of whom are from rural area. So out of these migrants, 20% are from rural area. So what is 20% of this? It will come out to be 7x. So that means remaining 28x are from urban area. Right, now further it says that 48% of the local population, 48% is female, while this figure for rural and urban migrant is 30% and 40% respectively. So if the total population of the city is 724800, what is the female population? Right, okay. So let's understand this part. It looks like there is some error in the question, because somewhere they are talking about migrants. Okay, migrants is fine, and rural and urban, but here they are talking about female. So let's see, 48% is female. Of the local population, 48% is female. So this female is 48%. Okay, now we need to find out 48% of this 65x. So I'll, instead of finding it, let me just write 48%, and male will be remaining 52%. So while this population for rural and urban migrant is 30% and 40% respectively. Okay, fine, they have given this. So further, for rural and urban, its female population is 30%. So for rural, 30% are female, and remaining 70% are male. And for urban population, females are 40% and males are 60%. Okay, once again, in case if you have lost, what you can do is you can just take a pause, go through the data once again, read it twice, and replay this question so that you will understand what step by step have I written. Okay, so if the total population of the city is 724800, what is the female population? Now what is the female population? So can I say female population is 30% of 7x, so it will come out to be 2.1x plus 40% of 28x. Now 28 forza, so it will be 112, so this will come out to be 11.2x plus this 48% of 65x. So now what will be 48% of 65x? So what you can do is you can find out 50%, which is 32.5, minus 2% of this, which is 1.3. So this will come out to be 31.2. Right, so 48% of 65x will come out to be 31.2x. Now this is the total female population. So if you just check, it will come out to be 42.4 plus 2.1. So it will be 44.5x. So we need to find out value of 44.5x. We are given the value of 100x, which is given as 728400, and we need to find out value of 44.5x. So let's quickly understand what will be this value. If you want, for this question, maybe you can just use calculator, so that you can quickly wind up this question, right? So it will come out to be, let me just do it quickly through the calculator. So it will be 728400, yeah, into, yeah, so we can eliminate this into 44.5. so it will come out to be 324138. This value will come out to be 324138. So this is the total female population in the city. So I hope all of you have understood this. As I mentioned earlier, that the question is slightly complicated, but it's an amazing question. Will surely help you improve your accuracy and your understanding to the concepts of percentages. So you must try to solve this question by your own without looking at the solution, and see whether now you are able to get the answer or not. If you can tackle such question, trust me, scoring 90 plus percentile will not be challenging. So please make yourself familiar so that you can solve such questions. Now before we go ahead with the next question, quickly take a pause and quickly look at the question statement so that you can answer it clearly. Okay, so if you have read the question, let's go ahead. Just to quickly tell you, I mean, the document has been provided in the description, so please make sure that you have downloaded from there and you can solve it, and then you can come back to the solutions. So the town of Malmö, Sweden has only two late night food options, pizza and kebabs. All the sellers of late night food have either a street permit or a permanent store, right? So street permit or permanent store, this is street permit and permanent store. I hope you understand the abbreviations. And they are selling pizza or kebabs, right? Now further they are saying 60% of all the late night food sellers in Malmö are street vendors. So let's assume that there are total 100 vendors, unless something is mentioned to us. Yes, here I can say exactly 7:3. If the Malmö's ratio of total street permits to total permanent store permit is exactly 7:3. Street permits to permanent permit. So if there are total 100 vendors, street permit should be 70 and permanent sellers should be 30, right? Based on this one, we have got these values. 60% of all the late night food sellers in Malmö street vendors serve kebab. So 60% serve kebab. Okay, I think we have wrongly written the values over here. Let me quickly just correct this value, guys. Yes, 100 should be over here, right? And this will be 70, this will be 30, and 60% serve kebabs. So remaining 40 serve pizza. Okay, 20% of all the late night food sellers who have permanent stores serve pizza. So who have permanent store serve pizza, so 20%. So this will come out to be 6. So this should be 34. Now it will be very easy for you to plug in the other values. This is 24. So this will come out to be 36. Right. And total will come out to be 70. So they are asking us what percentage of all late night food sellers in Malmö serve pizza. Okay. So what percentage of all late night food sellers in Malmö serve pizza, right? So I think pizza is being served by 40%. Total street permit to total store permit is 7:3. What percentage of all late night food sellers in Malmö serve pizza? It should be 40%. So there seems to be some error over here, because 60% of all late night food seller in Marlborough Street vendors serve kebab. Right. 60% of all late night food seller in Marlborough Street vendors that serve kebab. 20% of all late night food seller who have a permanent serve pizza. Okay. So if you just go by that, this statement, 60% of all the late night food seller are street vendors that serve kebab. Okay, right, here is the problem, guys. This solution that I have written is not correct. We will have to do it once again. Let's do it, guys. Somewhere we missed a statement. Right. So let's do it once again. So it's about two types of food seller: those who serve pizza and those who serve kebabs. It's very delicious, both the dishes. If you are hungry, I'm sure you will. It will be easier for you to get distracted. Right, and yeah. They have either street permit or permanent store permit. Okay, so let me just write it: street or permanent store. Okay, so let's assume there are total 100 store owners, and further in the last line it is mentioned that total permanent store permit, street permit to total permanent store permit is 7:3. So street is 70, permanent is 30. This is what we know. Now what they are saying is 60% of all late food seller in Marlborough Street vendors, 60% of all late night food seller in Malmo are street vendors that serve kebab. Okay, street vendors that serve kebab. Okay, right. So this is 60. This is what it says. So definitely this will be 10. And 20% of all the late night food seller who have a permanent store serve pizza. 20% of all the late night food seller who have permanent store serve pizza. So iska 20%, 30 ka 20% will come out to be 6. So this is going to be 16, while this will be 24 and this will be 84. So what do we need to find out? How many late night food sellers serve pizza? It is 16%. Now it's correct. So we misinterpreted a particular statement and the question went haywire. Okay, so I hope you have understood this. Let's go ahead with next one. Now this question looks once again pretty lengthy. Arjun Kapoor and Anil Kapoor appear for a test. For each correct answer is awarded 1 marks and so forth. Now here it says that Arjun Kapoor answers some question and gets 10% of his answer wrong. He secures a score of 85%, which is 6 marks more than the pass marks. So whatever is the pass marks, if someone gets 85% marks, it is 6 marks more than the pass marks. In terms of percentage, 85%, so it is 6 marks more than the pass marks. And Anil Kapoor also answers some questions and get 20% of his answers wrong. He gets a score of 70%. He gets a score of 70%, which is 3 marks less than the pass marks. So if you look at this, total gap is of 9 marks, which is equal to 85% minus 17%, that is 15%. So I can easily make out total 100% should be 60. Only then 9%, 15% will come out to be 9 marks, right? 15% of 60 should be 9, right? So we know that total marks were 60 in this case. So what should be the marks? 70% marks, so it will be 42, which was 3 less than the pass mark. So pass mark should be 3 more than 42, that is 45, and answer is option 3. So I hope all of you have understood this. Let's quickly go ahead with the next question and let's wind up this particular DPP solution part. So class A has, now this is a good question. Class A has boys to girls ratio in 2:3. A boys to girls ratio 2:3. Okay, and so I can say boys are what, 40% over here in class A, and class B has girls to boys ratio as 5:3. So class B has girls to boys ratio as 5:3. So boys to girls will be 3:5. So what will be the boys over here? Boys percentage in this class? It's 37.5%. Out of 8, there are 3 boys, so 37.5%. Okay, what is the minimum percentage of boys when both the class are considered together? Guys, please understand, if I club this to division, the percentage of boys will definitely be between 40% and 37.5%. There is only one answer option to this one, so you can straight away go ahead with that. But in case if you want to understand how did we get this answer, so let's understand it this way. We are asked to find out minimum percentage of boys that are there in the class. So of course we'll try to have as many students of as many boys student in class B as possible, and as less students in class A as possible, because only then this percentage will come lesser into the effect. Okay, so further it says that the number of students in class A is at least twice as many as the number of students in class B. So if I take a number of students in class B as say 30 boys and 50 girls, that is 80. So I need to have 160 students in class A, and if I just divide boys and girls in this ratio, so this will come out to be 64 and 96. So these are the minimum number of students in class A if class B has 80 students. Now you could have taken 200, 300 also in class A, but then please understand the percentage of boys are more in class A. So if you increase the number of students in class A, that means it will also increase the percentage of boys in the overall combined division. So we'll try to keep this value as less as possible, but it has to be at least twice the number of students of class B. So if we are taking 80 over here, we need to take 160 over here. So out of this 160 plus 80, that is 240 students, there are 64 plus 30, that is 94 are boys. Calculate this as percentage and you will get 39.17% as your answer. So this is the minimum percentage of boys in the combined division. So I hope all of you have understood this. Now before we wind up this video, let me quickly tell you that I'll keep coming up with more such videos, more DPP solution in the days to come. So please make sure that you have watched all, and this is the URL from where you can access my previous video. So keep learning with me and keep attending my Genesis batch and other batches. Do not forget to like and share this video, and I'll come up with few more. Thank you.